Hi, Home and Texture. I'm Andrew.
And I'm LaToya. Welcome to our home in Atlanta, Georgia. We bought this house in 2022, fell in love with it. We've lived in the city of Atlanta for a long time, but we wanted to see the stars and wanted some quiet. We love old houses. We love crown molding, high ceilings. It was built in the late 90s. So it was so nice with this house to be able to move in, kind of have that same old house kind of style, but not the old house problems. All right, so now we are in my living room. I love the huge windows here, which again are just absolutely perfect for all of my plant babies. I also just love being in a house that's just filled with so much natural light. And the overall design of the room was to create a space of warmth, but also gathering. So even the shape that we made with the couches and adding the 2 chairs, we wanted the room to feel conversational. The other thing about the room that I absolutely loved were the shelves. These shelves help to display some of my favorite pieces from Oaxaca, Mexico. And really, every piece on here tells a story of our family. Another thing we loved is the fireplace. We love a wood burning fireplace. In the winter, there's literally nothing better than just sitting with a cup of hot chocolate or coffee and having a fire. One of my favorite pieces is this vase that was made by an indigenous artist in New Mexico. Her name is Angie Yazzie. And it's made out of this sparkly clay called mica clay, and you can only find it in New Mexico. I also am obsessed with artwork. A lot of our artwork, if not almost all of it, is local. So this is a local artist named Thomas Robinson, and I fell in love with these 2. The buttery kind of yellow spoke to the drapes, and then you've got the green in there that talks to the plants. It was just like a match made in heaven. So down our hallway, we've just got all of our family and pictures and memories. Just so fun to, again, just root our house and our family and our story and who we are. And that leads to probably one of my favorite rooms in the entire house, which is our library room. I just think it's so warm and cozy, just having a comfy couch to just plop down on, read a good book. Our record player is here, so we just put on some good jazz. I mean, it is just such a lovely and warm space. And so for here, I wanted some pops of cayenne and navy. And really the inspiration for this room came from this poster, a Basquiat, that I loved. I love the reds and the Adidas shirt that he has on. And so I wanted to carry that through the space. So that's typically how I function when I design. I just kind of get a spark, an inspiration, and then I say, okay, how can we run with it? All right, now we're gonna head to the dining room. This is probably the most romantic space within the whole house. house. The previous homeowners left the Swarovski crystal chandelier as well as the wall sconces. And so that was just the jumping off point for this room. It's so dreamy and so romantic. I was like, it needs a wallpaper to match. And so we got this just stick and peel wallpaper. And then I'm also really proud of my little DIY project. I went to Michael's and got some flowers, and I had this brass pot and just sat down and just started sticking flowers and creating this arrangement. And then I went to a vintage store and found these amazing floral plates. And so things just kind of started coming together. This couch is purely decorational. It's okay to put things into a space simply because you think it's beautiful and it makes you happy. I think vintage is such an amazing way to bring functional sustainability into your house. So even this mirror we found at Scott's for $20, you guys, and it looks so rich and expensive. So again, that's another reason why going vintage is not only sustainable, it'll save on your budget, and you can just create a gorgeous and warm space.
So the room that we're in right now is our bedroom with a big family, with a lot of business stuff, traveling all the time. You have to have like a place that's a retreat, a place that's calm. And this place, you notice there's no TV. And that is because of the fact that we're trying to intentionally make this a place that's just about LaToya and I. This is our safe place. And so we thought with the walls, this color, it's called Carbon Copy. It's a dark color, but then because she set it off with all the light accents, she's able to make it into a space that really gives the vibes that you want. I think the inspirational heart piece that's right behind me, I love it. I love what it says. I love how it inspires me. And then obviously, as with everything else, it's got to be functional. So some of the other kind of like key points in the room are my grandfather's self-portrait. And he came from Italy actually as like a 12-year-old boy. And he painted this self-portrait that's right behind me at 19. Moving on, the chandelier. It's real brass and it came out of a giant ballroom and the thing weighs 1 billion pounds. One of the things about the room that we didn't like and that we didn't like about the entire house was even though it had really high-end elements, a lot of the design aesthetics were very traditional. And that continued in here with the fireplace, which was white and had this kind of like fancy molding. And, you know, LaToya, she always has these visions like, hey, you got to paint the room black. And whenever it was done, the room just completely came together. And it went from being this kind of like traditional, weird, sort of like not matching our aesthetic to something that's honestly very sensual and really kind of like goes with the entire design aesthetic of the space.
All right, so welcome to our studio. We wanted to create a space for our kids and for ourselves to be inspired, to create, to also reflect a lot of the things that we love to do and the ways that we like to create. So this little corner over here I love is a collection of my husband's guitars. So Andrew plays a guitar, our daughter plays the bass, and we even have a keyboard downstairs that I sometimes mess around with, and we can bring it up here in the space and kind of have a little family jam band up here. Now, one of my little quirky things that I love and I lean into is I love collecting Funko Pops. I think that they're just such a fun reflection of pop culture. And honestly, they just make me smile. Like they just bring me joy. I can't explain it. I'm not going to try to. I just think that they're so fun. And so this room has become our display room for our Funko Pops. And another thing I love about this room is it really is like an eclectic mix aesthetics of what our family is into. So even our little posters right here that reflect all the different national parks in the country. And of course, there are plants because every room in our house has to have plants. But my husband particularly loves cacti. And so we brought our cactus collection up here. So we love having the light and the space in here and love that it's safe for us to all come and create in whatever way we want to. All right, everyone, now you are in my sunroom. And for me, this room was probably the selling point for the house. It's completely unique and it could house all of my plant babies. So my response to COVID was to start collecting plants. And so I probably have over 100 plants. And I was desperate to make sure that I had a house that could accommodate all of my babies. And so this room is absolutely perfect for that. What I also love about the space is it's got some nice big walls. So not only can my plants climb up them, but we can also put some really great pieces of art in the space as well. So I found this piece at a garage sale. And of course, it is a great backdrop for all of my beautiful plant babies. And this room has a nice mix of vintage pieces. It's kind of really calming and romantic. So I've got 4 kids. And so making sure that there is space for everyone and all of their things is really important. And so we added this wardrobe out here. Because before we built our laundry room, we needed a place to put all of our jackets and hats and gloves. And this piece has been really great serving us in that way. So this table, it's just a great place for my kids to come. This is their art table. I love real wood pieces because if you get junk on them, you can always sand them down and restain them. And it's just endless how often you can use it, and it's built so well and it's sturdy and it's nice and big. These chairs are really old. They have a kind of Scandinavian design. You can see that they have been well loved. It's not about perfection. It's about things that are designed well, function for you, and I just think they're so unique. And so I will always keep these. And another thing about the plants too that you'll notice is plants just teach you so much about life and death and imperfections. And I really love that. I mean, I love my plants. They're not all perfect, but they're thriving and they're healthy. And I learned so much about them. There are some plants where the flower has to die before a new one can bloom. And you just learn about those cycles, and it gives you the opportunity to take a moment to just be mindful and pay attention to them. And and I just think that's really special.
The proudest DIY that we have in our home is gotta be the laundry room and the mud room and the workout room, because it was nothing. It was literally just an open space. And, you know, LaToya and I, when we combine, it's like design and able to lift heavy things. And we do those things together and we make it happen.
So this is our workout room. We definitely value health and taking care of ourselves. And another selling point for this house was the space. So this used to be part of a 3-car garage, but this section was enclosed. And so it was a perfect place for us to be able to put a gym. My favorite part of the space is definitely this wood wall. So I think I got the idea from a tonal commercial. And we were like, okay, how do we replicate this? This looks really expensive, but it is not. We painted the wall black and then we just put plywood on top of it and then we just stained it. This really rich kind of mahogany color. And I feel like it just brings so much richness to the space. So there are so many great ways to add value and luxury to a space that does not cost you a lot of money. And then of course, adding a mirror just to bounce some more light into the space is important. And of course, you always gotta have a plant.
One of the things that we did when we started working on the laundry room, mudroom was how do we make sure that we take care of the needs of the kids, but then we also make sure that it's beautiful, so beauty and function together. So you make the space for everything, but then you give them a nameplate and it's theirs. And it's just become a very functional space for our family, and that's what we're always working towards.
To me, who doesn't want a beautiful laundry room? Laundry is not fun. So you might as well do it in a beautiful space. I almost get like this calm spa-like experience coming in here, and it just makes doing the laundry so much more enjoyable. My amazing husband built this custom piece for our washer and dryer. We also had some practical challenges. So we have a water heater here in the corner that was really ugly. And so we wanted a classy way to be able to cover it up, but you still need to be able to have easy access to it. And then also love having an extra sink in here. Makes it easy to water all of my plants. And then I loved using the beadboard. I wanted to bring in some extra texture into the room. Sometimes when you have so many smooth surfaces between the walls and the cabinets, just bringing in a little texture can just add an extra element to your room. And then we just found some really great pieces of art that we loved, and voila, I have a space that I actually want to come and do laundry in. The advice I would give to somebody who's designing and decorating their own home is listen to your own intuition, fill your home with pieces that bring you joy, that you love. Don't worry about all the design rules or the Pantone color of the year. I mean, unless you really like it. But you know, I think people just get in their heads too much. And I'm like, just start slowly filling your home with things that you're like, I really like that. And I promise you, you will step back one day and be like, oh, it all works. I'm LaToya Tucciarone, and you are watching Home and Texture House Tours.